welcome officially to the first ever Holy Trinity Show, starring yours truly, Pete, the Canadian Villa Fanatic, from my Villa parlor here in my home, which I'm really thrilled you can be in. Because let's be honest, for the last year, I've not been allowed to invite anybody into my parlor to have a little flick around or to talk about the mighty Aston Villa. And the point of this show is to invite you into my home to enjoy one of these and talk about the amazing, the wonderful, the magnificent Aston Villa. Cheers. Ooh, it's a nice little Glen Roth's very serviceable dram. And the name of the show, Holy Trinity, is inspired by, of course, one of the most beautiful grandstands ever built in English football by Archibald Leach, the Trinity Road stand. But also Trinity means three. So everything we talk about on this show will be about the threes. Last time they beat Chelsea Football Club at Villa Park, Brad Guzan was in goal wearing this strip. On March 14th, 2014, as Fabian Delph scored into the Holt End goal, I remember it very well because I was at Seahawks Stadium in Seattle screaming in the media gallery, which is probably a little bit unprofessional. But those were the Paul Lambert years. And it was a big win, and that was 7 years ago. And this win might have been even bigger. So let's go. Let's do the Holy Trinity of Aston Villa 2, Chelsea 1. Now, I want to start with the honorable mention going to the crowd that finally got to gather at Villa Park for the first time in what felt like eons, and the noise was very noticeable. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a Villa fan, but it was louder, certainly, than what we heard at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And I also want to raise my glass and send a toast to Ben Cash. Your tweet was inspirational, and I think for everybody who read it, we realized some perspective. Football is wonderful. Football is joyous. It can also be awful. But in your case, Ben, I'm so glad that Aston Villa came through for you and won 2-1. I'm raising my glass to you. And no matter what happens from here on in, you will forever be a part of the fabric of the football club and of Villa Park itself. So cheers. Now then, the Holy Trinity of how Aston Villa beat Chelsea. What an interesting game it was. A lot of Chelsea at the very beginning, and that's okay. Aston Villa weathered some storms, and they looked very comfortable at times and very resolute. And it's so important to have finished the season on a winning note like that. 6 points out of 6 against two sides that are considered pretty good and spend quite a little bit of money. So congratulations to Villa for doing that. But I want to start with the 87th minute save by Emi Martinez on Ben Chilwell, who came in at the back post, and Martinez flew out and using his legs was big and strong and resolute once again. There's this old saying that your goalkeeper needs to earn you 10 to 15 points per season. And I think we can now safely say that Emi Martinez did at least that. I mean, going all the way back to Sheffield United and the penalty save and, this game here, well, there's 4 points right there, but there were so many more. And he was, I think, the undisputed signing of the offseason last year, and he's not going to get worse. And imagine if he gets a younger, hungrier goalkeeper as a backup, because I don't think Tom Heaton's got long to go here at Villa Park, despite what a professional servant he's been. He's just going to keep getting better, and hopefully Villa can hang on to him because there are some big clubs sniffing around. But he has been magnificent. The save was magnificent. 87th minute, could have been 2-2. Desperation type save. 2 legs blocked, and it remained at 2-1, and Aston Villa ended up going and taking all 3 points. So that was the third of the Holy Trinity of those 3 points. The second, if you've ever stayed at a hotel before and you're woken up by a maid at 9 in the morning, housekeeping! Housekeeping! We're talking about Courtney House, of course. And what a performance he put in. And it wasn't just this game. It was the Spurs game as well. And there's been other games this season, the one away at West Brom. He is a magnificent specimen. And I think he's grown into the season, and I think he's going to ask a lot of questions of where he should play next year, and should he be part of this team. I'm even wondering, is there a way of setting up with three at the back, with Tyrone Mings between House at the left and Konza at the right? I mean, those two players on either side are so good at one thing: closing the gaps and snuffing out chances. I counted in the first 15 minutes alone 4 clearances by Courtney House, and I'm sure there were more than that. But it's how quickly he covers those distances, how quickly he closes down, and his aerial prowess that was extremely noticeable in this game. He's a threat in the opposite penalty area. He wins pretty much everything in his own penalty area. That takes a lot of pressure off Tyrone Mings, who could fill in the gaps then. And I thought it was a really, really good performance by the Aston Villa rear guard, who wasn't maybe the man of the match because of our number one Holy Trinity, but certainly Courtney House and how he played, well worthy of one of the Holy Trinity. But the number one, and the reason why Aston Villa won that game today, what did Bertrand Traore have for breakfast? And I want some. And he needs to give it to all his teammates as well. This is a player that is so interesting to me. He does not score crap goals, ever. He only scores spectacular goals. Top corner, crossbar and down. The one around Sam Johnson at West Brom, which is probably the most interesting goal of the entire year. Yes, he was playing his former team in Chelsea, but he provided 4 moments of magic, 2 of which led to goals that were absolutely sensational. The 2 that didn't result in goals, the one in the first half where the ball's played over to him on the left-hand side, he pulls it down on one touch, lifts it over the fullback, gets around him into the box. It fizzled after that. And then I think before that was the one where he turned, darted straight down the middle of the field, and then tried to bend the left footer into the bottom corner, and he just missed wide. This is such an interesting player. But then the set piece, the corner, finally from a corner, Aston Villa works its magic. What a goal it was. Jack Grealish bamboozling everyone with a fizzed ball along the deck. Traore loses his man and drifts into the only spot where he's going to have a free shot at it. And I actually felt like he kind of mishit the shot a little bit. It popped up and then somehow went down with its majesty and magic. Crossbar down into the goal. Another spectacular highlight reel goal for Bertrand Traore at a time in the game that was critical. And Aston Villa were in front 1-0. What a moment against his former team. It was beautiful. And then, not long into the second half, what does he do? Again, shakes, bakes, fakes, and gets tumbled over. VAR on Aston Villa's side again, allowing the penalty to stand. In fact, that was a couple of decisions. There's an offside decision here and there as well. And Villa, the benefactors of video assistant refereeing today. But Bertrand Traore in on both the goals. And I just wonder, he's not going to get worse, Traore. He's going to get better. Imagine then if he has someone pushing him to be better. Somebody on that right side. And this is a future show. The Holy Trinity of positional targets for Aston Villa this summer. But imagine having Bertrand Traore coming on as a substitute when everybody's heavy-legged and he can do his magic. I mean, he's certainly capable of starting, but I believe that that's one of the positions of need for the club in the coming months. So there you have it, the 3 things that defined Aston Villa's 2-1 win over Chelsea. And what an important win it was to end the season 6 points out of 6 against 2 good London sides that have spent an awful lot of money and are expected to be there and thereabouts, because I can't help but wonder in the recruitment drive, if the agent calls the player and says, Aston Villa's interested, what's the first 2 things they do? The first thing those players do is they go to the roster right away and they say, well, who am I competing with in this position? And the second thing they look at is form and results and the season that was. And to see these 2 wins going into the summer will certainly not hurt. And to see Aston Villa's progress from last year will certainly not hurt either. It's just such a positive end to the season. And I'm so excited and can't wait to talk with you about all the summer activity that we know is coming given all the rumors. So again, I raise my glass and thank you for coming into my Villa parlor and being part of the first ever Holy Trinity Show. Here's to 3 points against Chelsea and a very interesting season. And our next show is going to be interesting as well. The 3 reasons why I am an Aston Villa fan. I know you're thinking, what the heck does a guy from the colonies, a middle-aged Canadian, know about Aston Villa, and why does he care so much? Well, I'll tell you on our next show. Please do the bottom things, subscribe and like those things you have to do on YouTube. And up the mighty Villa.